All right, so we're back in open session. Do we need to address this in open session as well?
I would address just the movement.
Just the movement? Okay, what the board has decided to do is approve Advisory Opinion 2015-6, which is currently in draft form, but for the last paragraph, which edits will be made and approved as soon as we can get that through the door and signed. All right. Okay. OD. 7C, that's our deal.
Well, can I ask you, in this book, Kathleen, which did you do the first? I'm sorry, you probably want to announce what we're
No,
doing.
so we're discussing now 7C, which is the Code of Ethics rewrite, and I know that Kathleen, you've worked on this.
Did you do the
Did you
red?
pick
I
up
did.
on?
I did the red.
You did the red.
So what you did is you took the state stuff and then added our stuff in red.
Right.
Okay, great.
And did you do it for Keith's section also?
Yes, I did.
You-
Did I?
I can't remember where we left
This
that.
is for...
And Becky, just for background information here, what we've done is we've been really wrestling with certain sections of our municipal code, and we have made some changes, we've proposed some changes, and then ultimately Assemblyman Train came to us and said, I want it all rewritten. And so, basically, the ethics code, our ethics code. And so he said, instead of having it be, what are we at now, 55 pages? He wanted 5. Right? He just said, basically he said, cut it all out. It used to be 5 pages. I want it 5 pages again. And so we said, well, we like the concept. We probably can't get it to 5. But we will work and we'll do the best we can to get it to something that, one, satisfies your desire to simplify the code. Also, take what we've learned since the implementation in 2007, try to improve upon it, but really simplify a lot of these provisions. Because we've spent a lot of time wrestling over certain clauses and these, what's that one I'm thinking of? It's like this kind of backdoor hook in the mayor, and I mean all kinds of, there's some really catch-all phrases that are really inconvenient and awkward. And so what we've done is we said, okay, we scrapped the whole thing, started from scratch, D especially. We contacted the state ethics officer, got some input from him, and then started with the state's ethics code, which is, 10 or 15 pages, and decided let's start with that as the basis, and then add to that some of the provisions in the municipal ethics code that need to be in there. So we start with that framework and then we add to it to complete. And I think that it's a much more manageable document that we hope eventually to bring before the Assembly and have it approved. And part of this discussion has involved extensive discussions with Julia, who helped draft or was behind the drafting of the original code revision, to try to make sure that we're not leaving things out or misrepresenting the intent of why certain provisions were in there, the spirit of these provisions, things like that. So what we ended up doing is we kind of delegated that out, and we had Kathleen effectively, ultimately do all of the 3 provisions as far as trying to condense and synthesize the state to the city provisions. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And then Dee and I were going to ultimately get together and try to come up with the final proof.
Okay, so can I ask you though, and by the way, as a comparison, we just were taking the state ethics and asking Kathleen and used to be 2 other people to just literally add what we have. We weren't making a cut yet, a decision.
Right.
And then we could just cut it out. But can I ask you, so this is just the beginning stuff. And so I'm trying to figure out what you gave us, and what's in here, and what we're still missing.
I went through the first 2. I just went through employees and
Public officials?
Yeah.
Public appointment.
public appointments. I didn't do the other 2, but predominantly what I moved over was we had more disclosure requirements than the state did, so that's pretty much what we'll find in here.
Okay. And so that is these 2 sections, so you added those 2 sections.
Right.
Well, that's a huge... Okay. And I think we are getting through these opinions and NOPs that really now we could spend some time on this. And so
I think
it
so.
makes sense to start doing it.
I agree. So the next step at this point would be, so Kathleen, you're done, is that right? With your,
I didn't, like I said, I didn't do the elected officials.
was that Keith's? part?
I don't know.
That might have been Bill's.
Bill Falsey.
Oh, Bill
Bill's.
Falsey?
Although I'm not so sure he didn't.
But he didn't do it.
Oh, he didn't do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Oh, yeah, now
we only have what
just show up to our
Kathleen's
meetings.
done. Yeah.
I did elected I can go ahead and
Can you do that?
do the elected.
Okay, as soon as that's done, then you and I can start, D,
You can edit.
for the record, you and I can start going through it then and editing.
Yeah. And we're not looking, by the way, for a huge, that we're going to wrestle with every word.
No,
We
no.
take a simple format and add a few key provisions. And even like our disclosure stuff, when you start reading this,
Mhm.
so much of it is legal gobbledygook. What does
Right.
it mean? I mean,
And the state's ethics code has been in operation for
Yeah.
a while, right? There's
Mhm.
no, what we're trying to do is avoid reinventing the wheel.
right. And the simple sentences, and they don't look
Right.
around for other provisions.
Right, and you have links and references.
But you know, the statutes are also backed by a pretty healthy set of regs, too.
Right.
So that's where you get a lot more of the slang, even though it seems pretty simple.
Uh,
And then the regs.
Right.
well, that's a good point. But then we'd have guidance. Body of law.
Well, that's right. I mean, we can even have a provision, something like, hey, this is guidance for this code, is the state provision, state regulations, and anything comes up that you want to do a little legislative history research or something like that, then
Mhm.
there's other sources to go to for reference,
Mhm.
if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, if we've got the board and ethics officers, and if we got a bit more aggressive about, making sure we know who all the ethics officers are and, getting them trained up and everything. I mean, it is,
Right.
nationally, it is a best practice in terms of ethics codes to make them more simple, more aspirational, and then rely more on the participants who are actually involved in the process to provide the guidance. Now, my understanding was that one of the reasons that didn't happen with this rewrite was that when a fairly simple and aspirational code was presented to the assembly, they were like, oh my God, these are very broad and
Right.
simple, aka now meaning vague, right? And we don't want to be held to potentially how these might be interpreted, so we're going to start filling in all these details to
Yeah.
make sure we're covered.
Well, I
right?
got the sense that they came up with things that happened in the past, and there
Right.
would be a code section on
Right.
it, so they kept doing that.
And then
Right.
now you're running in
And
circles.
now, when you read the code section, you don't know that circumstance, and then you interpret it one way. Oh no, that's what this.
Well,
was
because then
for.
2 pages later, there's one of those little, oh no, go back and,
Yeah.
When was the original adopted?
2007.
So by the time you get them reviewing it and learning it, we'll change it.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. No, I think it'll be some time before this thing actually gets
Yeah,
through.
I'm hoping not, but I
Yeah.
think, especially with Catherine's help, that she went through those sections.
Right.
And I think that most of us have been on the board, let's say the three of us at least, that so many issues are repetitive. And
Mhm.
if it was, just like when we updated the employee gift section, we eliminated 80% of
Mhm.
our work.
Yeah, that's true.
That was really not very fruitful.
We actually eliminated 93% according to our statistics.
Did we really?
Well, in a lot
Yes.
of these cases, again,
Yeah.
it's not
It's in our
for instance,
report.
most of the cases we deal with, it's like there's just stuff that doesn't pass the sniff test. And you can just
Right.
articulate it, just basic principles and virtues of good, transparent government. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's not good, and here's how you try to manage that.
Well, I think the other area that's come up again and again and again and could be much better done and updated and reflect the current reality is political.
Mhm.
Use of emails and use of websites, and so many of our prohibitions I think are very outdated,
Mhm.
and our chapter and very.
Mhm. All right, so Kathleen, you'll finish that last. Then Dee and I will start working on it.
Okay.
So that's an update on the code, ethics code rewrite.
Would you mind if I took a look at
Oh,
some
please.
cities have done?
Yeah,
There's been a
absolutely.
movie on this country the last 50
That's a
years.
great idea. I was
Several
just thinking the
cities
same
that-
thing.
There's got to be several cities that have done
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and Terry, I have a website about that whole thing,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
model codes and stuff. But I
You
mean,
handed that to me, I think.
Yeah, I think at one point,
yeah.
but maybe I can
Mhm.
find that and send it on to you too.
If you would,
because
that'd be great.
They
Yeah,
had
I wouldn't mind seeing
I think it was a
my own.
legal conference or something, and
Mhm.
all it was different models,
Mhm.
the legal models for cities. And,
Yeah.
it had just a ton of stuff. And I think the reason we decided, well, I mean, and it had some really nice stuff in there, is just that should we go to the simplicity of going to our state and just adding a little bit. But maybe what we add becomes not our
Not
current
what we're.
code,
That's right.
but some stuff from there. So that would really be
Right.
helpful because
If you
it's
consider,
a
I
huge
would
body
check
of
it out.
material.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we could do then too is when you get done with your draft, we can have Terry look at that, and then you can compare and contrast. I think that's a great idea. Okay.
Yeah, I'll at least try to, have something to present to the board next time
Yeah,
about
there's-
here's the different models
Yeah.
and here's the different ways.
There's a
Just give
ton
us
of
some
it
stuff
on
to start
the
thinking about, like
website.
how generally we'd like to do that.
All right, annual report. Oh, any more comments about that? Annual report. Lisa, the deputy clerk, has done a tremendous job rewriting this proposed annual report. What my impression, I had never written one before. My impression, though, is that what was
Right,
happening,
Just the first part. Yeah.
what was happening in the past was our annual report was becoming the previous year's report, and then you add on a paragraph at the end. It was becoming increasingly dry and repetitive. Because, and then Lisa went in here and essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got rid of a lot of the old stuff, focused, and because we didn't really get around to one in 2014, that was actually one that we liked. So we're going to combine 14 and 15 together, present it to the Assembly hopefully in January. Not only did she rewrite certain sections of it that I need to go through more carefully, but it looks good on its face. She then took the advice and spiffed it up to make it really interesting with graphs and pictures and really cool stuff because I remember reading through drafts before thinking, is anybody ever going to actually read this? I know it's an obligation of ours under the code. But I really like the improvements that Lisa has done with this. And so if there's a report, the report on the annual report would simply be that we will have, I think between the two of us, I think it's safe to say, we will have something for the board to review at next month's meeting that I think will be a really good product. I'm happy. Yeah.
And this is
I
still a
like this. It
draft.
looks great.
It
I'm
looks
still
really
working
good.
on shortening it up, and
Yeah.
Oh my
then
goodness, it looks great.
But just certain things that will really, and there are things that we've been working on. We'll add that section, please.
yes, the educational
The
piece.
educational piece. And so I'm hoping by January we'll have because I think we've inherently been late on some of our reports too, just because we haven't spent a lot of time focusing on drafting a report. We're busier doing the things that we're doing. But then what we'll do is get this out early so we can actually be timely with our annual report. So in January, well, it is early.
Well,
Usually we're 18 months late.
I know. So this will be 2014 and 15 annual report. It'll be 2014 and 15, not
this part is
everything
rewritten
else
too.
before,
I just
except the
haven't
summary.
shortened it. That's why I put it in gray.
And then we'll get that out in January, hopefully.
You might be able to.
And then, well, actually, maybe not get it out necessarily, but at least get it to the board. Maybe we can get it to the board before the next month's meeting to review, and then if we can get out in January, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
So, any other comments on that?
Well, this is fantastic.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. And hopefully it's more inviting to read.
Right.
A lot better.
I
Yeah,
first
this-
wrote it
This is really great.
really dryly, like we always
Yeah.
do, and it was like 20-something pages
Right.
long, and then went back and said, "Okay, we got to make this interesting." So
Right.
Look
Yeah.
at this. This is
Isn't that great? Yeah.
We're the best board in all.
Any member comments? Before we adjourn, any member comments? I would like to make a very brief comment. Welcome, Becky, to our board. We're very excited to have you in our group here. This is a really fun group. I think we all have a really good time here, and we laugh from time to time.
We laugh, we cry.
Once in a blue moon, we'll have an errant comment that sneaks into the record. But we try to have a lot of fun, and in the past there have been times where we are swamped, where we've met 26 times in 1 year. I think we've had special meetings. But right now, Retta, you've come in at, I think, a good spot where we're kind of cruising right now. We've gotten all caught up with a lot of past work that we've done. And so welcome to our group, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. Likewise. Glad to be here.
Any other member comments at this time?
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
I forgot
Nicely
cookies. I'm
done.
always back. I'm always behind. One more.
Usually I chase you
So
down in your
cookies-
car.
Cookies. Actually, Eliza, so Eliza's like, so we gotta bake cookies.
I know,
And
so
he said-
sweet.
he's like, oh, is it the city clerk and the mayor? He does
Oh.
cookies to the mayor.
That's so
So-
awesome. Before we adjourn, though, do
Yes.
we need to revamp our meeting time based on your
Oh, your
schedule for the
schedule
new
next
semester?
Oh, yes, you're right.
Good catch.
And the answer is yes. We
Yes.
will.
Okay.
Thursdays, we meet on Thursdays. Right?
Mhm.
Thursdays will not be good for me
Okay.
next semester, but Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays would be.
Are we okay for next January, or does your semester start before then?
When is the January?
14.
14th?
I think we'll be okay because I won't
Okay.
be.
Because you.
I'll be in Maui. On the
Oh,
14th.
okay. So
Actually, I'll be on a plane crying on the way back.
so let's do this. When you because typically.
Oh, but could we do the 15th? Could we start doing it on Wednesdays?
I
Starting in
can't.
January?
I can't do Wednesdays. It's my one restriction. I have standing meetings from 11 to 4 every Wednesday.
Standing, that's a lot of meetings.
Yes, it is.
So we're on to Tuesday. So essentially Thursdays are that for you.
no one's
Tuesdays
in
and
the-
Thursdays are not great, but they're certainly doable. Let me just.
Yeah. This
Well, we don't have
11
to do this. I can look this up and I can talk to you. Lisa.
Okay.
No, can you look it up, because I think it's, yeah, we already discussed it.
To have everybody here to.
Wednesday's my own day.
Okay.
Take care of everything else.
Sorry, I always forget to
No, we tend to work around his school schedules because it's always changing.
Yeah.
That's the problem with me, right? Yeah, it's like I have lots of flexibility, but when I'm not flexible,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
flexible.
Right.
It's like having court dates. It's just like I just can't.
And I think that Tuesdays are harder for me just because of Rotary. Wednesdays are tough for me because of the CJA meetings. Unless it's a different, because I think CJA is the third Wednesday of every month.
Well, there's still
And because
Mondays.
right now we're doing
Mondays.
the second
Second Thursday. right
So
now.
I could do the second Wednesday.
I
But,
can't do Wednesday.
But you
but
can't
Becky
do
can never
Wednesday.
do Wednesday.
So-
So,
They're always out.
That's right. So we're back, and Tuesdays are tougher.
so it
for
would
me.
be.
What about
Mondays
Mondays
or
or
Fridays?
Either
Mondays.
I don't like Fridays.
Okay, Mondays.
Yeah. Only because most people have conflicts in the summertime.
That's right. So yeah, it's summer.
I have
Mondays.
post deadlines
I
sometimes.
think you're gonna run into some Monday holidays, but I could be wrong about that.
Mm.
I mean,
But we
There
can
probably
ask
aren't
for it.
enough to worry about that. Yeah.
you're right.
So,
Closing your
yeah. So what's your schedule on Thursdays then? Did you say Thursdays at this time is not good next semester?
Right. So they're going to look at this spring semester.
This is mine. We found a question for you. My email in here as well.
Oh, yes. Actually, that information sheet, if you could fill it out right on that one, I'll change everything.
Oh, here it is.
Okay. I'll put in, what you want.
All right. Let's see. So I am.
Oh, while Terry's doing that, David, can you sign? This is the dismissal to send to
Okay.
the complainant.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach from 1 to 4 Tuesday and Thursday.
1 to 4.
So how
That's
about-
the only commitments. That's the only
I'm sorry. 1 to 4 on when?
Tuesday and Thursday.
1 to 4 on Tuesdays and
Pretty
Thursdays.
much
So
the
that
rest of
really
the
leaves
week.
Monday, so what is Monday?
Monday.
You're okay?
You're okay on Monday?
Monday's okay, yeah, except for the headache come summertime,
Yeah.
People typically.
Yeah, but your schedule may change by then because we do this semester by
That's right.
semester.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
My summer is totally flexible because I only teach
Yeah.
online classes.
Yeah.
So
we
when is your
changed again.
semester? So basically for the next
Oh, I see.
4
We
or
could do
5
that for the spring
months.
semester till
Mhm.
first week of May.
And then we could go back to a Thursday if that works for people. Or,
We've been
Oh,
typically
yeah,
changing
right.
based on your semesters.
okay, let's do. Does Mondays work for people then? Okay.
Okay. 11:30.
11:30 to 1:30 is a great time because we get these great lunches, and our meetings tend to last 2 hours. Sometimes we get out a little early. Okay.
Sorry, mostly because disclosures that should take 10 seconds to go through, I turn it into a 20-minute discussion. So.
Keep it the second
It's all
Monday.
good.
The second Monday, does that even matter?
Second Monday.
Okay.
Second Monday is good.
Are
So
we starting in January?
we'll start in
January.
January.
So
Well, you
that
just-
Well,
would
he
be-
won't be here, but
This one just
initial
initial,
it?
Because that's the memo that you're going to present to the Ethics and Elections Committee if they meet this month. This is your educational piece.
Okay. All right. Do I have a copy of that?
No, but do you want one?
Yes,
Want me to go
please.
make you one?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just make
You want paper?
That way I can
Okay.
sound
So
intelligent.
the second Monday is the 11th in January.
But you're not going to be here.
Do we want to do it the 18th, the third Monday at one time?
Well, we could keep it our regular scheduled because he's not going to be there. And then start in February on the second
Oh, I see
Tuesday.
what you're saying. So January would be the second Thursday, which would be the 14th.
We'll be the 14th, have it our regular scheduled time, and then start February with Mondays.
Well, the 14th, I couldn't do it already because I've got class on the 14th.
Oh, they said you're coming back from
No, I'll
Maui.
be back. I'm coming back on the 13th.
Oh, you
So
are?
I will be here on the 14th, but
Wait,
and I
you
teach
are.
at 1, so I could come for
An hour.
An hour.
or so.
Well, why don't we?
Or if we started a little early.
Because you're not going to be back on Monday.
But on
Right.
11 I will be on the beach.
So we could do it the following Monday.
And I'd love
18th.
the 18th.
That's what you were suggesting.
Thursday?
Yeah.
So for that month,
Oh, only that month?
only that month.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah. I don't have it off, but I wonder if it's
Right.
pretty close. Yeah. So
That's
you
a good
think
question.
this one would think you're healthy.
What about?
Well, we
What?
could do Fridays then and just change it when the summer starts. No, you don't want to do that.
Well, I'm tied up till about noon. Oh, she's not here.
Maybe I won't, yeah.
He's not going to be. He's going to be in Maui
Okay.
on the 11th. But he's not going to be here. Why don't we do this? Why don't we keep the regular scheduled meeting? You can come for an hour, and then you go to your class on the 14th,
Okay.
and then we'll start in February on the Mondays.
Second Monday.
Second Mondays. And so
Keep this meeting. Okay.
that's right. And so
Could I do something maybe?
Yeah.
I'll know by. Could I sync it up with not the Monday before assembly meetings? Because you're busy too,
yeah,
right?
it's fine with
So
me.
we'll
Whichever.
sync it up which way we can do
Okay.
that. For a while,
Sure.
Because
okay?
the second, that isn't important. So
Huh?
we'll do, it being the
Yeah.
second isn't important.
So we'll
That's
figure
right.
that out, and so we'll sync it up so
Assembly
it's
meeting.
the Monday that's not the Monday before.
That's
assembly.
fine with me. Yeah, because that I understand.
Both the two
Yeah,
of us are
absolutely.
swapped for Sunday, so.
And then, if you don't mind, can you just send that out, the dates? And I didn't put it in my,
Yes, I will.
calendar yet. And if it's not in the calendar, I'm completely lost.
Is it easiest for you all, I know it was for Keith, to go ahead and send those out in Outlook?
Doesn't make a
So you can
difference.
just accept them? Okay.
Okay. Any more comments? Any audience? What is that last one? Audience? I don't see any audience yet. Move to adjourn.
Lock the door about now, Marcus. Before we roll.
Move to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Adjourn.